New Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Right Network original series, Smith TV. Your host, Brian Smith, coming to you Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And right after this show is Wayne Dupree's show as well on New Right Network. So you've got two back-to-back shows giving you the real news, the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. And again, today, not like any other day, there's an incredible amount of information that's coming out, and I want to tip my hats off. First, let's tip our hats off to the 2020 candidates for the Republican Party. They're running for House seats. Our good friend at Real, Omar Navarro. Folks, please follow Real Omar. I'll put his handle up here on the screen real quick. Good friend of ours, and a very staunch supporter of our president, Donald Trump. So let's start off the show with a shout out. Donald Trump tweeted out, "I'll be in Green Bay, Wisconsin this Saturday, April 27th at the Rest Center, 7 p.m. Big crowd expected. MAGA." And Omar replied right back to Trump, "Please follow me at Real Omar Navarro. I'm running against Maxine Waters in 2020, and I need you all to help. Thank you." Well, Omar, you absolutely have our support here at New Right Network. Without a doubt, we've interviewed Omar here on the show just recently. It was a great interview. He's got a tough race, but it looks like it's very, very feasible for him to win out there in the craziness that is Southern California. And I also believe that Deanna Lorraine is going to be running against Nancy Pelosi. So we've got MAGA candidates all over the place. We've got Laura Loomer, I believe, running in the 22nd district in Florida. So if there are other MAGA candidates that are out there, other folks that you know of, that you've, or maybe that you've thought of running for Congress or running for a House seat or running for even local positions, and you don't know who to talk to or who to hook up with or how to make that happen, folks, DM me on Twitter at Brian P. Smith, or send me an email or something. Get a hold of me, because I can set you in the right direction. I can get you in contact with the right people to help you make a run for whatever seat that you so desire, even if it's as high as lofty goals as a Senate seat, mayoral race, local, could even be. You'd have to have some serious name recognition to be governor or something of that nature. But if you're that person, if you've got name recognition, we can certainly point you in the right direction and help you out. Again, if you need, get a hold of me somehow, Brian at smyth.tv, smyth.tv, and more news to come about that. We will be focusing on new MAGA candidates and current candidates that are running with America First, Keep America Great agenda, our president's agenda. We will be supporting them. A lot of great news to come here in the future. And as we get started with the news of the day, we're going to talk about the border battle. There's an incredible battle happening down on the border. I haven't been able to get to it this week, and I apologize. This week has just been a crazy, hectic week, and if you couldn't tell, there's something wrong with my throat. I don't know. It doesn't hurt, but it ain't working too well. So bear with me, and we'll get this knocked out as quick as possible. But we did a whole series yesterday on Islam, and we've got some new updates as well. But we've really been going at the Islam issue, exposing it for what it truly is and the evilness that it is. It is not a religion. It is a cult of evilness, and we've got to expose it. And if you're asking yourself, wondering why the Democrats are embracing Islam, why does the PC crowd embrace Islam? It's because for the exact same reason that they embrace communism. It is a system to enslave or to keep the people, the citizenry at the bottom, keep them all poor, and keep those very few elites, the super elites, keep them rich at the top. And in America, that is not how our country was set up. That is why we are the exception to the rule. So we've got some more information coming out on SpyGate. This is looking so bad for the Clintons. This is looking so bad for Obama. Mark Taylor and the Taylor prophecies, it seemed to be coming true. It was a fireman who had said he received a dream, a message from God, and then put that message out to the world. He believed that he foresaw a vision that was told to him by God, and that vision that Donald Trump was going to win and become president of the United States. He originally thought that was going to happen in 2012, but as we saw, the Mitt Romney just completely fail and then give in and then throw it away at the very end. And so Mark Taylor didn't think that anything else was going to come about it, but then he saw a clip of Donald Trump on TV, and he said he heard the voice of the Lord saying, "This you're witnessing or you're watching President of the United States." And so in his prophecies, he's talked a lot about how the Clintons and Obama and all these people will pay for their all their crimes against the state, against the citizenry, and it's looking like it might be true, folks. We got a lot of information coming out on SpyGate, and there's something else too that I've been talking about. Tom Fitton's been filing these Freedom of Information Acts, these FOIAs, and now all of a sudden we've got a new DOJ in charge. We've got new people in the system that are giving up the information that he's requesting. Under Jeff Sessions and Obama, it couldn't have happened. It didn't work, and so now we've got all kinds of information coming out on the Clintons, Obama, and the deep state. I know I haven't touched on this. It's been in the show notes, and I apologize. One of those things I just couldn't get to this week yet. But if we got time, I want to touch on the CNN town hall with the Democrats on display. The CNN town hall was supposed to highlight and showcase Democrats. It has been the absolute opposite. It is destroying these Democrats who go on CNN to do the town hall. It's destroying them. People are asking them questions, and the answers that they're giving are just, they're awful answers, but they're telling the truth and exposing themselves for who they are. Bernie Sanders falling in it, Camilla Harris falling in it, Elizabeth Warren, not a prayer in hell. And Nancy Pelosi now puts her foot down. No immediate plans for impeachment. So we're walking away from that. And then Islam and the updates for the Sri Lanka explosions, the suicide bombers. There's videotape of those bombers walking down the street and into the churches to then blow them up. We've got a death toll now of reaching upwards near to 365 dead, and more than 5. I think it's almost 600 injured. It is just grand terror. It's terror of grand proportions. It's with the likes that we have not seen before. 6 explosions, 3 in Christian churches, and then 3 in high-end hotels. And this at Breaking 911 on Twitter. And these are the folks that you need to follow if you want to keep in touch with the information of the day. Breaking news, top intelligence officials deliberately hid information on Sri Lanka attacks. Top security officials did not take action. the minister says. This reported by Reuters. You know, a shame. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, but this makes sense of why this happened. If they didn't take action, or they didn't deem to follow up on this, then this is exactly why it happened. And Ryan Saavedra at Real Saavedra updates and information as well. An evil white supremacist murdered 49 Muslims in New Zealand last month. So evil Muslim terrorists decide to murder hundreds of Christians in Sri Lanka, which is overwhelmingly not white. That is correct. So the answer given out now by the, Daily Mail Online. Daily Mail Online, Sri Lanka bomb attack was retaliation for Christchurch mosque shootings, investigators believe. dailymail.co.uk. And this is Reuters. More, Sri Lanka minister and former army chief says Easter Sunday attacks must have been planned for at least 7 to 8 years. You heard that right, folks. Sri Lanka officials say the attacks were planned for 7 to 8 plus years. This makes no sense that it was in retaliation for the mosque attacks in New Zealand. It doesn't make any sense. And this is why we've got great reporting. People are staying plugged into the news. Social media is what it is. And this is just, it's excellent that we can communicate with each other and get the real news out. Monday through Friday again, folks, 7 to 8. And then right after Smith.tv, right after our show, comes on Wayne Dupree. So back to back, don't miss it. And more updates on Sri Lanka. And I'm just kind of go through this real quick so we can get to some of the other news of the day. I know I've been talking about Islam, Sri Lanka. I know I've been talking about this the past couple of days, so I just want to get through it real fast so that you've got the information at hand. And this at Amy Mack. Here is why Christians are targeted in Sri Lanka. Is the media hiding the motive? We translated the Sri Lanka jihadists pledging their allegiance to the Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Video shows 8 jihadists led by Zirhan Hashim, the mastermind of these attacks. We offer you the loyalty, the prince of all believers, the caliphate, successors of Muhammad, in joyous times of gaining booty in battle and in difficult dying in battle, in hard times and in good times, and place him above ourselves and not dispute his deserved authority unless we see clear and undisputed evidence from Allah of infidelity and unbelief. And Allah is our witness to what we say. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So if you ever had any question why Christians are being targeted, or if you had any questions as to why Christians are scared in the Middle East, it's because the terrorists are targeting Christians and non-believers. I'm going to repeat that again. Non-believers, Christians, Buddhist, Hindu. You don't believe in Islam. Islam is out to destroy you. Amy's just on top of it today. Just incredible information she's been able to put out there for us. This is a video out in France. Breaking, huge fire raging in the French city of Versailles. Buildings are burning near former residence of King of France. More details to follow. Again, folks, you can see, as I can see, we do not know what this is, other than that it's a huge, huge raging inferno. It's a huge fire. This is just happening all too often in the country of France. And I was informed that a lot of these buildings are super, super old and do not have the fire extinguishers, do not have the up the code stuff, if you will. But that's in France. That's what's going on in France. I'm not saying it's Islam because we don't know yet, but I am saying that My beacon is up. My suspicions are high, and we have at Real Mike Couch, good friend of the show. Great information that he's putting out there. He has just now put the information out that remember the New Zealand shootings, non-stop, wall-to-wall mainstream media in the United States. Death toll just went over 350 dead in Sri Lanka. The media silence is deafening. It reminds me of every case my team is working on. And follow at Real Matt Couch. These are the people that I'm plugged in with. This is the information that we're seeing and that we're bringing to you on a nightly basis. And hey, it's Carolyn. Poor Muslim family at the grocery store doing some shopping. This is what we're talking about, the abuse. This is not importing Muslims into America from other countries like Omar, like Rashid Tlaib, these other individuals. Bringing them to America is not the solution because they will take advantage of our generosity and the system that is in place here. And as Hey, it's Carolyn tweets out, watch, poor Muslim family caught buying sodas with welfare SNAP card to sell at their business for profit. They're driving a Lexus SUV. Immigrants should never be allowed on welfare. Americans pay taxes for this fraud. Retweet if you agree.
You take our tax money, then you buy a bunch of pop, and then you sell it at a gas station.
You don't know what store. We don't even own our store. Our store got shut down.
So what are you doing with all that then?
Minding our business. Just like we didn't ask you what the you buying all that shit for. But it's only you and your little fake ass girlfriend.
Okay.
Okay then, mind your business.
They got 2 full shopping carts.
That's what they do. They bought all this pop on food stamps.
Already viral. It's our food stamp. You can't tell me what to do with my card.
It's fraud.
How is it fraud? Because I went in there and bought all this pop for myself. It's fraud. That's stereotyping.
Okay.
You're saying because I'm Arabian, I'm buying this for my store.
I don't know what you are. I don't care.
Okay then, just shut up.
All right.
What's wrong with you, stupid ass?
Loading all this stuff. 2
What's your name?
full carts.
My name is America.
Well, why don't you go back to where you came from then?
Not Detroit. I was born in Detroit.
Think about it. We were technically from here.
Why don't you go where you came from? You're not Native American. Go back to
I'm
your
American.
Y'all came here and stole it from the Native
I'm American.
Stole it from the Native Americans.
See, this is the misinformation. People are totally confused.
All right.
Got slaves and shit, thinking you the shit. You go back to your country. Fuck out of here.
We go around to the front of the car to get the Lexus and the, did he miss the license plate? No, he got
I'm
the
just going to get your registration too, that's all.
vehicle registration and now he doesn't show the license plate, but at least he got the registration of the vehicle. We know this is happening. We know it is. It's just proof that it is happening, that hopefully somebody can take this to the authorities and report these individuals. There needs to be an investigation into this without a doubt. And as we're talking about this, as we're talking about immigrants, we know that up to and over 10,000 immigrants who have come through the southern border have been coming from the countries that are on the banned list. That people on the ban list of these countries are not allowed over here, but they're coming through our southern border. Reports from the Border Patrol agents are saying that somewhere up over 10,000 have been coming from these banned list countries, and this has to come to an end. Donald Trump working tirelessly. This is the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because we need to take back our Congress. We need to take back the House. We had the exodus of Rhino Republicans leave in 2018. They're gone. Now we're paying for that exodus. We've got to ramp it up, and we've got to stay focused for 2020 to take back the House and take back the Senate and do it in grand proportions so that Donald Trump doesn't have to worry about whether he's going to get all the votes that he needs or not. So that we know that he'll have the votes there. We need to get folks like Laura Loomer into office, folks like Omar Navarro, folks like Deanna Lorraine. We need to get our folks into office, those that are America First agenda, those that have a solid grounding in the American history and the founding of this country. And Donald Trump battling on the border. This was tweeted out today. Folks, this is unbelievable what's going on. Mexico's soldiers recently pulled guns on our National Guard soldiers, probably as a diversionary tactic for the drug smugglers on the border. Better not happen again. We are now sending armed soldiers to the border. Mexico is not doing nearly enough in apprehending and returning. This is a fact. So for whatever reason, the reports are coming out that our troops on the border were held at gunpoint. Two of them were held at gunpoint by a handful of Mexican troops. And what I was being told is that it was on American soil. Now, I know it can be a little bit difficult when you're down on the border. There's no line in the sand that says this is America or this is Mexico. But yeah, they had all their guns drawn on these two agents, two individuals, de-armed them, held them at bay for a while, and then released them. This is unacceptable to allow this kind of stuff to happen. And Donald Trump is taking measures to stop this. It has become a very hostile environment down on the border. And then Donald Trump tweeting this out. This is exciting. And I'm so excited to be able to bring you this news on a daily, a nightly basis. Can anyone comprehend what a great job Border Patrol and law enforcement is doing on our southern border? So far this year, they've apprehended 418,000 plus illegal immigrants, way up from last year. Mexico is doing very little for us. Dems in Congress must act now. And Democrats are not acting in Congress. Democrats are fighting, stalling, stall tactics. Again, Kellyanne Conway earlier this week holding up a blank sheet of paper to the media saying, here is the Democrats' first 100 days in office. Here's what they've accomplished. Zero. Nothing. Stall, stall, stall. Some of the polls are saying that the border security in the minds of the voters is one of the number one topics trending for voters, and the Democrats are doing nothing. They're doing the opposite, screaming and yelling and fighting our president all the way. Even independent voters are saying that security should be a top priority on the border. We've got to keep our people safe. It cannot continue to happen this way. And Jim Inhofe, and this is great that we have this technology. I can't say it enough how much I love it. But Jim went down on the border and posted this video up to his Twitter account to give his report of what he saw.
Well, we know that walls work. You look at other countries, all the countries have walls or some type of obstruction to keep people from coming in who are not legally entitled to be in. Look at Tucson, and when Tucson actually built their wall, that increased or it decreased the illegals coming in by 95%. And the same thing is true with Yuma and other places where they have created walls and obstacles.
Inhofe.senate.gov. So for those of you that are in Jim's district, we give Jim a thumbs up here. Here on the show, Smith.tv, we give Jim a thumbs up. These are the kind of candidates that we are going to continue to push and continue to fight for. The America First agenda, Donald Trump's agenda, President of the United States of America, fighting desperately day and night. People losing their mind about Donald Trump tweeting out, I think that somebody was saying 50 times in 2 days. Who cares? I love it. Bring it on. Donald Trump connecting with his base, connecting with the American people 24/7 on social media with the likes that we've never seen this before, folks. And just absolutely loving the ability that we have to be in touch and stay connected. This at DFB Harvard, President Trump and Nancy Pelosi to talk about an infrastructure bill. With a caravan of 20,000 plus illegal aliens marching across Mexico to our border, the only infrastructure bill I support is a wall. We spending $150 billion plus a year on illegals now. Stop it. I couldn't agree with you more, 100%. We also have to stop the information flow that is... What's happening down in South America is that these people that are in destitute and in poverty are being told on TV and news flyers and outlets, being told that America will welcome you with open arms. Take your family and your children, show up. You'll be in paradise, the land of milk and honey. The riches, you can have it all. Just go to America. Go to the United States and you can get whatever you want. We've got to investigate this and figure out where this is coming from and stop this nonsense. There has to be a counter to this. And I'm not seeing that. And I really wish we could, but I'm not seeing it. And the other thing that's big in the news here recently this week is the question on the census that Donald Trump wants to put on citizenship question on the census. And this at Bloomberg Politics, Supreme Court signals support for Trump's census citizen question. Key Supreme Court justices seem inclined to let the Trump administration add the question about citizenship to the 2020 census in a clash that will shape the allocation of congressional seats and federal dollars. In an 80-minute argument Tuesday that was both technical and combative, Chief John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh directed almost all their questions to the lawyers challenging the decision to ask about the citizenship question. Kavanaugh said Congress gave the Commerce Secretary huge discretion to decide what to ask on the census. There's no doubt that people will respond less, Justice Sotomayor said. That's been proven in study after study. So now we've got the Democrats losing their mind because what is going to happen with the citizenship question on the census? And this is beyond 2020. Census is 2020. This is beyond. This 2024, 2028. The citizenship question will mean that people will not respond to the question or not even take the census at all, which means that they will be taking the population will decrease in these areas where the Democrats have flooded illegal aliens into Republican areas. Now, this isn't speculation. This is for real. To overrun these areas, either flip it Democrat or enlarge other areas so that they can have more of a voice when it comes to federal monies and stuff like that. It is destroying our election process. And by having this on there, and Sotomayor saying, yeah, sure. Yeah, nope, that's right. People will probably not answer the question. That's study after study. So hopefully this works through, and I'm really excited about that. And while we've been filming, while we're doing the show, this just popped up on the Washington Times article that the Department of Justice will not allow one of the individuals that they have in their one of their employees to testify about the census question. They've been subpoenaed, and they're going to circumvent the subpoena. It's just the Democrats' stall tactics, and it's just not going to work. So I'm really excited that the Department of Justice is standing up for their own folks. Again, by the WashingtonTimes.com. American schools produce 100,000 illegal immigrant dreamers a year. New American high schools are churning out nearly 100,000 illegal immigrant dreamers a year, according to the new study Wednesday that shows just how extensive the network of illegal immigrant families is in the U.S. The Migration Policy Institute's research is the first in more than a decade to try to capture the size of the emergent dreamer population, which is defined as illegal immigrants who came to the U.S. as juveniles lacking any immediate claims to legal status. MPI's numbers show that the population has grown from about 65,000 a year to more than, in 2003, to 98,000 graduating each year now. This is a huge problem because now we are losing our sovereignty and our nationalism. It will no longer be a country founded as we read in the history books. It will be transformed into a country that is none like anyone that we've ever seen before. We're reporting the real news here. This has nothing to do with race, creed, sex, has nothing to do with your gender, nothing to do with any of that. This has to do with our sovereignty as Americans, as our country that was founded by our founding fathers. We've got to continue to fight back for these. And you got to get involved in these elections. The Democrats are transforming, well, the left liberals are transforming the Democrat Party because they are actively going out, actively making these things happen. Republicans, we need to get active. Get involved in your local politics. Get involved in local campaigns. Help to walk around, drop off flyers, put up signs in people's yards, knocking on doors. And you got a list. Don't be nervous about the knocking on doors part. You got a list of Republicans who have voted. Just knock on the door and say, hey, you still voting for Trump again? That's all. You'll get into a lot of great conversations with people and have a great time at doing it. It'll renew your own faith in the American people by going out and talking to these individuals and having a great time at it. I promise you, it's not as scary as you might think it is. It truly, truly isn't. And I just threw this in there just because I know that the Senate Democrats, House Democrats with Nancy Pelosi going after guns and gun grabs, and Katrina Pearson, just an incredible American, did an awesome job for Donald Trump and his campaign. And as you can see that Katrina Pearson is not your typical white person. I'm just saying Donald Trump's diversity all over the place when you get involved with his campaign. And she posted up this article from her website. Florida Senate passes bill allowing classroom teachers to be armed. As reported by thehill.com, the Florida State Senate on Tuesday approved a bill that would permit teachers to carry firearms on school grounds. And I guess that would be the stipulation of local school boards and other things. But anyways, the fact that this was passed is one step closer, and it's awesome. Also held up, I forget where I read this article at. I apologize, folks, but it just triggered me. Broward County, the sheriff that did nothing, that was an awful sheriff down there in Broward County. Courts are now saying that it is acceptable for Ron DeSantis to suspend Broward County sheriff. That has been a complete debacle. That kid that went down there and shot up all those teachers and shot up those students. Everybody knew it was him. Everybody knew it was him. Law enforcement knew it was him. They all knew it was him. They knew he was going to do this. They knew he was a danger to society, and yet they let him continue to build up and to do these things. His mom allowing to have guns. It's just a travesty down there, a breakdown. And so now Ron DeSantis is legally allowed, courts confirming to suspend him. Thank the good Lord above that we get these knuckleheads out of office. And as we're talking about knuckleheads in office, we're running into SpyGate. This SpyGate is starting to spiral out of control for the Democrats. It is beyond anything that they can stop. This snowball avalanche is traveling downhill at light speed. And Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, Barack Obama, you guys got to be shaking in your boots. You absolutely must be shaking in your boots, because I know I would be if I were you. And this by our good friend Jim Hoff, the Gateway pundit. John Podesta, 2015 email reveals plot to slaughter Trump by linking him to Putin and Russia. Left-wing comedian Jimmy Dore is the host of the Aggressive Progressives on the Young Turks Network. Now, before you get too triggered, I know the Young Turks, they're bad guys. The left-wing nut job, they're bad dudes, don't like them. Matter of fact, Cenk Uygur, the head of the Young Turks, was involved with Justice Democrats and George Soros money and helping to run candidates and flood Congress, running 79 candidates and getting 7 elected. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and Omar were part of the 7 they got elected. Hardcore left-wing radicals. This is their agenda, and the Young Turks is a bad setup. However, the Young Turks hate Hillary Clinton. The Young Turks were all in for Bernie Sanders. And what they found is that Jimmy Doran, one of the emails that Hillary Clinton was sending back and forth to John Podesta. And in that email, John Podesta dreamed up and hatched a plan to tie Donald Trump to Vladimir Putin and Russian ties. They said that in the email that we've got our people in the DOJ and the FBI and the deep state. We'll work this through them. We'll work this through Obama. The whole plan was hatched 2015. It's right here in the emails. It is unbelievable that it's incredible that we're able to find this information. And as you can see right here, December 21st, 2015 is when Podesta started the Russian conspiracy. Yep, that's right, folks. HRC, Obama, and ISIS is the subject. And here's where they hatched the plan. The stronger, the better to slaughter Trump. If we don't have proof, and the campaign should assist. 100 pages. He covers it up with his hand. I can't quite see it. But this is where the plan was hatched. So for anybody got any connections to Dan Bongino, tell him it's right here. Here's what he refers to as page 1. Page 1 is how did it all start and what all happened. This is where it was hatched. December 2015 to slaughter Trump, connect him to Russia at all cost. And now we see the whole SpyGate just completely unfold. You guys know that they've been listening to the show for years. You know all the details to this SpyGate. You know that we've been reporting on this since December 2016. So just a year after they hatched the plan, we started reporting on it and exposing it for what it is. And we cannot forget, folks. And this is what they tried to use to in the Mueller report, where Donald Trump had said, God, my presidency is over. Because he found out that the special counsel had launched an investigation into him and Russian collusion. He said that because he knew, according to Chuck U. Schumer, you mess with the DOJ and the FBI, and they got 2 ways to Sunday to get you. And he was right about that. There's no question. It's as bad as the IRS coming after you. So with that being said, I mean, you can see in context, Trump was upset because he knew the fix was in, he knew the cheat was on, and he knew that the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA Brennan, FBI Sally Yates, AG Sally Yates, FBI Comey, McCabe, all of them, folks, all of the dirtiest of dirties, Clapper, every one of them. And he knew that they were all deep state Obama sycophants. And that's why he said it. Projection to Hillary Clinton. This is what Democrats do. They project. And this is why they were projecting on Trump, trying to make us think that Trump was admitting something that was not the case, because this is Hillary Clinton admitting something that is the case. At Rod Stryker, STRYKER, if that F bastard wins, we all hang from nooses. Lauer's finished, and if I lose, it's all on your heads for screwing this up. You better fix this SH. Crooked Hillary Clinton, email to Dirty Donna Brazier, October 17th, 2016. As you can see right here, this is good stuff. This was in response to GRRR graphics, cartoons. So GRR Graphics is having a great time. Folks, that's who you should follow at GRRR Graphics. Ben Garrison. Absolutely must follow Ben Garrison. He's incredible. The left-wing nut jobs are after him as well. I believe he was suspended from Instagram for making too much fun of the left-wing liberal nut jobs. And Tom Fitton tweeted this out. Tom Fitton, great one to follow at TOM, FITTON, Judicial Watch. No wonder Hillary Clinton has thus far skated Barack Obama is implicated in her email scheme. It is getting real bad for every single Democrat out there that was involved in this plan to overthrow the duly elected president, to essentially a coup d'etat, a silent coup that we've been screaming from the hilltops. And again, we got to give credit where credit is due. At Bill Still, at Billstill, Bill Still, very active on YouTube. He does have an account on Twitter. He was one of the first ones that we knew to call it a coup. And he kept saying, I'm reporting on the coup. I'm reporting on the coup. And lo and behold, turned out to be, he was 100% correct. We've got to fight this so that this never, ever happens again. And I'll try to get through this as quick as I possibly can. We got to get to the CNN town hall Democrats. They've got a few more things with this and the failed attempt to coup. And this at Representative Matt Gaetz, Gaetz. This is Matt Gaetz about the Mueller report and how everybody's all upset. Why are they upset about the Mueller report? None of these people had anything to do with Trump.
Obviously, the people who wrote this report are known to the president. You had Andrew Weissman, who was a Hillary Clinton booster. You had Jeannie Rhee, who represented the Clinton Foundation against FOIA requests. So this was a group of people who had an axe to grind. And though they couldn't bring charges because they didn't want to be, they couldn't sustain them, they still wrote bad stuff.
And that's absolutely true. We've been talking about this in the Mueller report, that all of this Mueller report was a last-ditch effort for Mueller to throw shade and give Democrats the opportunity to start making things up and reading into things that weren't there. Mueller is one of the worst dirty dogs that's out there. This was trending on Twitter this morning at OANN, One America News Network, and Donald Trump retweeting out OAN's article at Real Donald Trump. At Real Donald Trump, former CIA analyst Larry Johnson accuses United Kingdom intelligence of helping Obama administration spy on the 2016 Trump presidential campaign. At OANN, wow, it is now just a question of time before the truth comes out, and when it does, it will be a beauty. That's the President of the United States talking to his people, giving us the information that One America News Network is reporting on. Thank you, One America News Network. Thank you, Donald Trump. And thank you, Chat by CC. Such a beautiful patriot right here. And this is how I get it. Folks, I don't get Donald Trump's tweets anymore. I just don't get them anymore. I got them on notification, but I don't get them because we're on a shadow ban. And Jack Dorsey, have a sit down with Donald Trump, see if Donald Trump can make this happen, work it out, get all of us conservatives off shadow ban. But at Chat by CC, you absolutely must follow her. She's incredibly intelligent and very active with retweeting out Donald Trump's tweets. So this is why I saw Donald Trump's tweet. It's because of her. And she commented with UK, Australia, the Obama administration was using alternative and illegal means to spy on Trump's campaign. Unleash the wrath of the law. And now we're seeing not only Australia, not only the UK, but also the Ukrainian governmental officials and politicians involved. It's a total globalist coup involved in the overthrow of a duly elected president. Folks, wake up every morning, pinch yourself, and realize how big and how bad and how deep and how awful this was and would have been. This would have been the end of everything we ever knew about the American history. Donald Trump is already putting in place, looking like he's going to put in place 3 Supreme Court justices. He's already got 2. And what an incredible blessing that we have. This is for generations to come. That would have been Hillary Clinton's pick, and it would have been the death of America, the death of the First Amendment, the death of the Second Amendment, the death of the Fourth Amendment, the right to search and seizure, the death of the Sixth Amendment, your protection from your lawyer, as we saw they take down of Cohen. And we're getting some reports about Cohen. And we got one of the great, smart-minded reporters at a New Right Network. And as soon as she breaks this story, as soon as she comes out with it, I'll bring her on. We'll do an interview. But apparently there is a deep, dark connection between Cohen and porn star lawyer Michael Avenatti. Shocked? No, man, these dirty dogs run in the same circle. But we'll bring that to you as soon as all of that information is ready to go. So stay tuned with that. And something, this by Brian York at Washington Examiner. This was a tweeted out. Remember when Trump gutted the GOP platform to please Putin? That was the story, at least. Totally wrong, totally debunked, total BS. But a former Trump staffer is still paying the price for it. Let's talk about how much damage and destruction the Mueller investigation has committed. We see what they did to General Flynn, bankrupt General Flynn. See what they did to Papadopoulos. We see all the people's lives that were destroyed. But what about the unknown people and the $35 million that was stolen from the taxpayers? What about the unknown people, the people that you didn't know that Mueller destroyed? Yep, that's right. Mueller has destroyed other lives, not just the ones that are in the media. And this one, Donald Trump gutted the GOP platform. That was reported by the Washington Post, which was a complete and utter lie. It was total fake news, total BS, no retractions, no nothing. And we have here J.D. Gordon, Trump director of national security. His legal fees, he didn't say how much they were, but he said his legal fees alone, after being summoned by Mueller more than, I think, almost a half a dozen times, every time he had to bring a lawyer with him, he said his legal fees were in the 5 digits. And if it wasn't for the fact that he's a retired colonel in the military and he's receiving his pension, if it wasn't for his pension, he would have probably gone bankrupt like General Flynn as well. General Flynn, I know receiving his pension, but General Flynn was just wrecked up and down, like with the lights that we've never seen before. And General Flynn, there's no lie. There's no there. And so we go back to the Washington Post article. This is by Brian York. He writes all about it. Back in July 18, 2016, during a run-up of the campaign, Washington Post headline story was Trump campaign guts GOP's anti-Russia stance on the Ukraine. What was that all about? That's right. At that point in time, the Ukraine was being pulled, the strings being pulled like a puppet from Russia. And that's where we get Obama, Hillary, Christopher Steele, and Fusion GPS, and all of them go to the Ukraine to meet in the embassy and continue to hatch and develop the Steele dossier and more information. And now we find out that Ukrainian politicians were involved in contributing to the fake PP Russian dossier gate. And now we find out that there was up to 4 versions of this. So Washington Post pushing the Russia agenda, fake news, total lie. They're saying that J.D. Gordon, Trump's guy, literally wrecked the GOP platform to be pro-Putin and not anti-Putin when it comes to the stance on the Ukraine. And all of a sudden, we see the Mueller report out. The Mueller report shows the opposite. J.D. Gordon did the opposite of what the ragtag Washington Compost has reported. J.D. Gordon did the opposite and strengthening it up. And now we've got Nadler. Now the House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler sent document requests to 81 people as part of a new investigation into threats against the rule of law. Threats against the rule of law? And J.D. Gordon is now entrapped in that. So destroying people's lives, Mueller, and now destroying people's lives, Nadler. That's what Democrats do. They destroy everything they touch. Look at California. California's got a lot of problems, and now you got the governor. I didn't put this in the show notes, but you got the crazy governor out there that's fighting Donald Trump on Trump helping to get areas water. And the governor's fighting it because he claims it's Devin Newsom's district. And we can't let that happen. What insanity. Nadler also lacks the votes for a simple majority and lacks the votes of the 2/3 count needed for impeachment as well. He's going for impeachment. Sorry, I didn't say it clearly. He is going for impeachment, but he lacks all of that. There's no there. One America News Network is reporting on that as well. Just great stuff. Let's get to the town hall. Let's wrap this up. We got just a couple of minutes. Small town Andrew on the Bernie Sanders debacle. This is Bernie Sanders in the town hall. So follow at Small Town Andrew.
As it happens in my own state of Vermont, from the very first days of our state's history, what our Constitution says is that everybody can vote. That is true. So people in jail can vote. Now, here is my view. If somebody commits a serious crime, sexual assault, murder, they're going to be punished. They may be in jail for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, their whole lives. That's what happens when you commit a serious crime. But I think the right to vote is inherent to our democracy. Yes, even for terrible people. Because once you start chipping away and you say, well, that guy committed a terrible crime, not going to let him vote. Well, that person did that, not going to let that person vote. You're running down a slippery slope. So I believe that people who commit crimes, they pay the price. When they get out of jail, I believe they certainly should have the right to vote. But I do believe that even if they are in jail, they're paying their price to society, but that should not take away their inherent American right to participate in our democracy.
So crazy Bernie Sanders now has new voters. His new voters is the Boston bomber. Yes, he was asked if the Boston bomber would be allowed to vote, and crazy Bernie said, you heard him, even if you're in jail, you should be allowed to vote. Wow. This is absolute insanity, and this is new for the Democrats. I have not seen this before. This is new for the Democrats. And this posted up by at El Guapo 64. Please post pictures of Bernie's new supporters here. And this is the crazy terrorist, redhead murderer terrorist. Now we've got NYPD released photos of Sunnyside shooter. He'd be allowed to vote. Stronger Together, MS-13 and DNC together can vote. Charles Manson can vote. Yeah, I don't even think he's still alive. Yeah, there you go. Guys, I can't take this. This is going to be too easy. There's a slam. Don't treat it as a slam dunk, but this is just turning out to be one heck of a landslide for us in 2020. I'm super excited. And one of the brilliant minds in our movement, Turning Points USA, Charlie Kirk at Charlie Kirk 11. Bernie Sanders' plan would allow 183,000 murderers, 164,000 rapists to vote from prison. Think about that. I'm just saying, now do we let insane asylum, people in the insane asylum, do we let them vote? Is that what we're doing now? Crazies to vote? Because now the Democrats are running out of voters, they're going to crazies to vote. And at Arthur Schwartz, Camilla Harris, we should have the conversation about allowing the Boston Marathon bomber to vote from prison.
That I want to talk to you about. This is really important. I'm not sure if you were watching earlier, but Senator Bernie Sanders said that he is in favor of felons being able to vote while serving in prison. He was asked specifically about people like the Boston Marathon bomber, also people who are convicted of sexual assault. And he said, this is a quote, "The right to vote is inherent to our democracy. Yes, even for terrible people." Do you agree with that, Senator?
I agree that the right to vote is one of the very important components of citizenship. And it is something that people should not be stripped of needlessly, which is why I have been long an advocate of making sure that the formerly incarcerated are not denied a right to vote, which is the case in so many states in our country. In some states, permanently deprived of the right to vote. And these are policies that go back to Jim Crow. These are policies that go back to the heart of policies that have been about disenfranchisement, policies that continue until today. And we need to take it seriously.
But people who are convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation.
Right out of her own words, we should have the conversation about sex offenders murderers life in prison and the Boston bomber. We should have that conversation. Listen, watch Camilla Harris. Every time and time again, when she has no answer to the question, she always reverts back and says, we should have that conversation. We should have that conversation. Elizabeth Warren, health care for all, everything free for all. I tweeted out back to her, Venezuela, anyone? Yeah, that's exactly where Elizabeth Warren wants to go, down the pathway of Venezuela. This Elizabeth Warren is just as crazy as the rest of them.
If any other human being in this country had done what's documented in the Mueller report, they would be arrested and put in jail.
Yeah, that's what she's running on. What's documented in the Mueller report, anybody would be arrested and put in jail. No, you're projecting, you're thinking of James Comey and Hillary Clinton and letting Hillary Clinton off the hook. That's what you're thinking of. And this by the brilliant minds on the right. Stark contrast.
Yeah, in the heartland, they want legislating, not investigating. They don't want impeachment. Every single poll shows it. Doug is spot on. But you have certain Democrats, 2020 contenders, we've already heard from two, who are so desperate because they have flailing campaigns that the media isn't giving enough attention to. So they're willing to divide the country, to destabilize the government, and call for impeachment. That's what we saw with Liz Warren. And they have the aiding and abetting mainstream media who breathlessly waits for their set of Democratic talking points. And then they echo it all across the mainstream media saying, quote, roadmap to impeachment. That's media collusion at its best. They're aiding and abetting the 2020 Dems, and it's not what the American people want, so they do so at their own peril.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We've been talking about that here, but let them hang themselves on their own nooses, as Hillary Clinton would say. Who says hang from a noose? What a racist. And then at Speaker Pelosi puts her foot down. No immediate plans for impeachment. Well, too late for that. And then we got at McCracken44, Pete Buttigieg reveals his position on some hot button campaign issues. Immigration reform, Pete. I'm gay. Climate change. I'm gay. War on drugs. I'm gay. Defense spending. I'm gay. Healthcare. I'm gay. Well, there you have it, Pete Buttigieg. Didn't report on this. I didn't say anything about this, but Pete went after Vice President Mike Pence, after Pence and Pence's religion and stance on religion. And it was a crying shame, but it was beautifully well volleyed back by the incredible Mike Pence. Mike Pence saying, I supported Buttigieg. I supported him. I helped him get to where he is today. The fact that he's gay had nothing to do with my decision to help him get where he's gotten. And what a crying shame. They turn on all of us eventually. This at Rod Stryker again. Jay Leno was the last real late night host. The real reason Jay Leno was fired?
Told me personally, if I like my current job, I can keep my current job. Well, and I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. Bill Clinton said that the president needs to change Obamacare and keep his commitment to the American people. Okay, that's when you know you're in trouble, okay? When Bill Clinton was lecturing you about commitment, President Obama has stopped using the word Obamacare in his speeches. He now calls it the Affordable Care Act. See, that's not a good sign. When even Obama is trying to distance himself from Obamacare. That's not, oh no, that's Biden care. He says the lack of response to Syria so far does not threaten his credibility. And you know something, he's right. The economy, Benghazi, the spying scandal, that threatens the credibility, but this other stuff, no. Said that raising the debt limit does not increase debt. And you know, I got to defer to the president on this one, because when it comes to increasing the debt, Obama knows what he's talking about. You can see the effects of the shutdown all over town. It's terrible. President Obama now down to just one teleprompter. That's how bad. Luckily for Obama, he has impeachment insurance. It's called Joe Biden. A lot of people have been speculating lately about what President Obama will do once he leaves office in 2016. One thing we can safely rule out, website designer. I think that is... You can see he's getting a little grayer. Have you noticed that?
In fact, they're starting to call him the Silver Fox. That's what they call him, the Silver Fox. That's because most of the silver in his hair was caused by Fox. That was the problem. That's why it's silver. Yeah. And President Obama has sent John McCain to Cairo to help solve the political problems that brought the Egyptian government to a halt. I got an idea. How about some of the problems that brought our government to a halt? Why don't we start with that one first? Apparently what got the Iranians to sign this deal was the promise from President Obama. He told the Iranians, if you like your uranium, you can keep your uranium. So I don't know. Well, President Obama's approval rating is now down at the lowest point of his presidency. He's down to 37%. In fact, here's how bad it's gotten. You know the Thanksgiving turkey he's pardoning this week? The turkey said, no pictures.
And that's the late, that's the great Jay Leno, not late great, no, he's still alive, but no longer on TV, if you will. Jay Leno, just incredible. Tongue-in-cheek jokes, things that are truly funny, that's good stuff. We ain't got that no more. You can't find that anywhere around late night TV. The left cannot meme. The left cannot joke. They can't take a joke. They're like the triggered, spoiled brats that are so sensitive that if you make a joke about them, you just might get them all totally upset. And folks, you're listening to New Right Network, our show, Smith TV, and here Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Support our MAGA 2020 candidates at Real Omar Navarro. You can also support Deanna Lorraine as well, and then Laura Loomer. Support her. Laura, I believe it's lauraloomer.us. You can check out all the links in the description below. Jump over to smith.tv. Help out New Right Network. Help us continue to get the word out and exposing the fake news every single day. We give you breaking news every day, wrap it all up, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. Again, your host, Brian Smith. I will see you tomorrow. Have an incredible day. Good night.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.